Hey everybody, Stu Smith here going live. Hope you are well today. Tuesday is our day we talk a little bit as you guys congregate, and then we will take some questions and show some videos that were submitted over the last week and see how people are doing with their swims. So this is the live Q&A CSS critique show, but before we go to that, real quick, it is a pretty hot time of the year. Pretty much you're all over the country. It's damn hot. Um, so if you want to perform at your best, you can't blow off several things, and that is your hydration before, during, and after working out. Now, it gets a little more complicated than just add water. If you're sweating profusely, or if you're in arid environments and you see salt stains all over your clothes, you definitely are losing salts and you need to replace those salts. So all over the internet and grocery stores, you can find dozens of ways to build the needed electrolytes into your body through drinks like Gatorade, Pedialyte, powders like Element, Liquid IV, Drip Drop. There's so many out there. I've used all of them, and they've all been very helpful, especially when you're sweating so much that you're like today. My shoes were squishing because the sweat had drained from my upper body down to my legs into my shoes. So I have lost a lot of water today. So I have been constantly refilling that with just water and adding some electrolyte drinks to it too. Himalayan pink salt, Celtic salt, some morning shake. I like it. Add in some salt. That's cool. You can do it however you want. I personally like the rehydration packets just because they seem to be better formulated for what I need. And they're, if I put it in a bottle of water, I can shake it up, and typically that is a generic answer to your, how much you need to replace, with a certain amount of water. But I will say this, if you're not sweating much and you're not losing salt on your clothes, you don't necessarily need to add salts, but you probably need to add some water just for, especially if the air's dry, you need to wet your whistle. Sometimes that's a little annoying too when you're running in arid air versus humid air. Both kind of suck in their own little way. The other one is fuel. If you're working out pretty hard, we had a pretty hard workout today, legs and hills and intervals and long, slow distance. Need a little bit of fuel prior to that. Personally, for me, I go with bananas. Sometimes I'll have a little tangerine. Even carry a tangerine with me, just to have a little extra juice when needed. Something I also do, we do this one run where we run 2.5 miles one way on this trail, run the hill at the end of that 2.5 mile mark, and then we run back. So just getting to and from where we going takes 5 miles, plus we run a couple more with hills. It's a long day. You mix in some squats and lunges, you got a pretty good workout. So I do something I call the strategic water drop, where I'm running with 2 water bottles and I sip a little bit along the way. I've already had a water bottle before I even started, and start jogging, and about a mile into that 2-mile run, 2.25-mile run, I drop a water bottle, the one with electrolytes in it, and then I run the rest of the way with that water bottle, sipping it as I go when needed, and turn around when we come back. There's that water bottle about a mile into the run, which I really need now, and those electrolytes just going to help me to start finishing the run, recovering from that run, and just feel a little bit more put together versus, you lose your electrolytes, you lose your water, you're asking to become a heat casualty really soon. Next thing you know, your muscles aren't working, you're cramping, and it rolls downhill really quickly from there. Put it this way, if you want to ruin your Spec Ops dreams, don't drink water and become a heat casualty, because that is the fastest way to end it, especially if you're going through a selection program, something like that, where you're needed to attend and finish events. So take it very seriously and learn a system that works for you, not just, some arbitrary drinking amount, and here or there grab a water. Actually, no, you should be sipping every couple of minutes, 5-10 minutes throughout the run, and be hydrated. Um, Add electrolytes when sweating. Add some carbohydrate sources when you feel like you're about to bonk. Low blood sugar is another way to end your Spec Ops dreams when you're going through type of training. So you got to make sure you're eating right. And then, afterwards, you need to just add even more. Add more water, add more electrolytes, add more carbohydrates, add proteins, because that proteins and fats are going to help you recover from what you just did, and it's going to prepare you for your next day's challenges. So before, during, after, really important um, to understand your fueling and nutrition, your refueling, nutrition, and your refilling of hydration needs. And sometimes it just comes with some trial and error. You need to figure this out. You need to experience, having not drunk enough water. That sucks. You'll know it real quick when your whole body starts cramping. Something I always carry, especially if we're doing long rucks, is I put a lot of water, but also put a can of chicken noodle soup in the back of my backpack, because I will tell you, I have saved people with a can of chicken noodle soup, loaded with potassium, loaded with sodium. It's got carbs, proteins in it, fats in it, and it is like you just drink it, just right out of the can, and it will bring you back to life almost. I've had guys like curled up in a ball, full body cramps, can't move, quit sweating. And I'm like, first of all, keep hydrating and let's drink this. And within about 5-10 minutes, they are normal again. Now, I don't let them continue the workout, but that little trick alone has saved dozen people in the last 15 years. So consider it. It's no joke. I'm serious. It's got a couple of questions here, but I will say this. If you really want to save yourself some time, find yourself a sports nutritionist and have them help you figure out what you need, what it's worth in nutritional value for you. And they may come up with some better answers than you just, listen to a dude talk about bananas and, drip drop. But I have worked many years to find out what works best for me, and that works best for me, right? So you need to do the same. But a sports nutritionist may save you a lot of trial and error, or, and just, give you an answer that's a little more streamlined for you. Let's see. I got in from a 4-miler, hills. That was tough today. It's hot out. Yeah, man, it was hot today. Man, I'm feeling it. All right, let's see what we have. People are talking about the salts they like. Good. Yes, Stu, what are some good recommendations or guidelines to keep in mind when trying to refine a workout plan to fit us better? That's a good question. A lot of times, when people do workouts like this, right? This is a generic workout plan. All of these are generic workout plans with a specific goal. So it's not necessarily just some workout plan that's not going to guide you anywhere. It's going to guide you towards this certain goal, but it is not personalized for you with your time per day, days per week, effort, intensity levels that you can handle, um, facilities, equipment, all of that. Some of those things you have to personalize yourself when you are creating a plan. And largely it's due to how much time you have per day and what is your equipment that you have. And finally, even your goals. What are you trying to do? Um, for instance, like if you're trying to become a better swimmer, but you have no swimming pool, you may need to find a swimming pool or a place to swim that's safe. Um, so those all have to be in line with each other. Otherwise, you might be able to work on something else until you find a pool, but that goal is going to have to be put on hold until you can find a place to actually work on your technique and your water conditioning and all of that. Because I promise you, you can be a great runner, a great biker, but you jump in a pool and not be good at swimming, um, you'll all of a sudden think, holy crap, why am I so out of shape? It's a different world in the water, and it causes a significant um, amount of muscle use that you may not be used to in air. So that's what I would do. So change your sets, change your reps, change your mileage. If you're new to training, you may need to do fewer. If you're pretty advanced in training, you like the system that's in here, but you need more mileage, add some mileage to it. Maybe add a long, slow distance day and add another 5 or 6 miles if you need to, or take it down and don't do that much. So that's how you do it. In fact, I wrote an article that may help you. Um, it's an article I wrote called "Adapt Programs to Your Levels of Performance and Still Reach Goals." So it's kind of a half answer to what your question is. It's not necessarily you creating your own plan. It's you creating a more personalized plan that fits your abilities and needs from other programs, whether they're mine or someone else's or an article you read in a magazine, all of that. All right, let's see what else. Hey Stu, at high body weight and muscle mass, would you recommend maxing out non-impact cardio, rowing, swim to build aerobic base before starting to run, reduce joint aches, possible injuries? Absolutely. I've been saying that for decades. Coming from a heavier, I can't tell you how many 280, 290-pound dudes have started training with us with a goal to lose 90 pounds and go serve. Now, these guys were stud athletes, um, heavyweight jiu-jitsu guys, football players in the collegiate, even pro level. And yes, I had them doing probably 75 to 80% non-impact cardio and 20% impact cardio at the start. And then gradually that turned into a third, a third, a third. And then eventually we dropped one of the non-impact events. So now it was just swimming and running, until the point where they're able to run what they need to run and swim what they need to swim, if they're getting ready for some kind of selection or something. But that is the way I would do it, largely because your knees, your back, your feet, your shins are going to hate you if you're big body guy trying to do some longer distance running. Might not be bad for sprints on a turf field, but long distance pounding, absolutely. Do you recommend heat or environmental climatizing? Absolutely. I went to Denver with SOCOM athlete, runs were harder. Absolutely. That elevation sucks. and then went to Tampa and the humidity was 98. Yep, with 100 degrees, that sucks too. With 1% wind, I was not used to either. Yeah, you know what? But you know what? Now you're exposed to it, and you now know, the things you need. In Denver, the air is dry, so you may not notice that you're sweating profusely, and you need to hydrate anyway because next thing you know, you have salt stains all over your clothes. I would, and then when you go to Tampa, you're definitely going to know you're sweating because you're sweating so profusely that you probably can wring out the water that you just sweat and salts, and you need to hydrate and electrolyte equally as well, especially when you're putting out like that for those type of events. But yeah, in fact, we are doing something like we go swimming every day at 2 o'clock, which is in the heat of the day, but we're indoors, not a big deal, not getting sun beat down with the sun, not out in the elements. But something we're adding, and we're just starting it this week, is just some zone 2 running in the heat of the day. And I told him, I said, you can even walk it if you want. I just want you used to being outside in 95 plus temperatures with humidity, just to start acclimating to this type of training. So here's our plan. We normally swim at 2. We're going to start today and Thursday, 1:30, with just getting outside for 30 minutes in the elements, running, jogging, walking, whatever you feel like you want to do, rucking even, and then go swimming right at 2 o'clock. So you got 30 minutes of exposure to heat, and then we go swim, cool ourselves down. Really safe way to try to work in some climatizing. So my advice is, if you're going to expose yourself to that kind of heat, just make sure you have something to jump into, cool yourself down, because you jump into a nice cool pool in the 70s, it's going to be very helpful with you to get that second wind, do that swim workout, and cool yourself down without any potential danger of, heat casualty type stuff. So, yes, just have a backup plan for when you are climatizing yourself. When I do crunches, sit-ups, my lower back starts to hurt a lot. My abs aren't weak. I can do a whole rack on an ab machine. My lower back is strong. 90 pounds, back extension for 20 plus. Any advice? Unless you have to do sit-ups for a fitness test, I wouldn't do them. There's plenty of other ways to work your core and abs. Hanging knee ups is a great one. That also works your hip flexors. Plank poses, movement planks. The other activities you're talking about there in your question. So my advice is this: if you don't have to do them, don't do them. All right. But if you're preparing for a fitness test that has sit-ups, you might want to practice them a little bit. But you also want to practice everything else to balance out that core, because if you're just doing sit-ups, you're neglecting your lower back, your thoracic region of your core, obliques. All of those things need to be working together as a system, not just cranking out crunches and sit-ups. Mix it up. There's no reason why you can't find 20 different core exercises and balance everything out, and hopefully that finds better. I have something I call the PT reset I like to do, where I'm working reverse push-ups, birds, just basically flying. I'm laying on my belly. Arm haulers, basically doing jumping jacks but laying on my belly. Swimmers, where I'm just laying on my belly but doing little flutter kicks like I'm swimming freestyle. Works butt, hamstrings, all the way up to the middle of the back. Definitely you'll feel it in the lumbar region. And also look at exercises like the big three of McGill's. Google that term, McGill Big Three. Um, those are good exercises as well. So farmer walks and other things like that are also great core activities. So diversify your core training because you're not training just your abs, you're training a system that goes from your hips to your shoulders, and mix it up. Mix it up a lot. You know, see if that helps you. Reminds me of the guy who asked Jeff Nichols for breathing exercises to do since he doesn't have a pool. Yeah, that's a tough one, man. Let's see, I'm in the Navy, active for 8 years now as an engineer. Any tips for my laziness? I've gotten worse over the years. My diet's crap. I think it's the long, crappy hours that made me start nicotine. Oof, yeah, man. Trying to reset myself physically and mentally, looking for tips. Um, yeah, man. It happens. I wouldn't beat yourself up on it. I mean, it is something that can happen to all of us. So forgive yourself, one, and then just start adding things like walking, right? Walking is a great way to start. Or if it's hot where you are, you know, walk on a treadmill or ride a bike in, stationary bike. I personally would recommend just getting started again with walking, mix in some jogging in there. You're still in the Navy, so you probably can still jog a mile and a half. It's not fun, but mix in more walking than running, and then replace all of your any sodas that you drink, replace it with water, and see what that does for a month. You might be surprised that just by doing that, you're going to start feeling better. You're going to start sleeping better. Once you start sleeping better, you're going to wake up and you're going to feel better. And you're going to naturally start making better food choices when you start feeling better. It's just something that happens. Instead of processed foods, you're going to eat more natural foods. My advice is more salads, burrito bowls, Chipotle. Yeah, I love Chipotle. But don't eat too much because those things are super filling. Take a meal and make it lunch and dinner. Cut it in half. Portion control is really important, especially if you're starting to gain weight. Um, Something I like to do is put my main meal on a salad plate and my salad on the meal plate. Makes a huge difference in the type of food that I'm getting in. I'm full by the time I even try to get to my meal because I started with a salad and um, it's a big salad. And by the time I get to the meal, I can, I don't need 3 pieces of chicken, right? I just can eat one. So try that and see how that treats you. But yeah, you gotta start maybe even making your own lunch. Do some meal prep. It's not that hard. You can Google it and get some ideas. I usually turn my leftover dinners into meal prep lunches for the next day, so I don't like necessarily plan out my whole week. Um, just whatever I make a lot for dinner, and then boom, make a couple lunches out of it. So hope that helps you with physical fitness. Mix in some walking and calisthenics, and keep planking. If you sit a lot, you definitely want to add some planking in there and some movement, just so your back doesn't hurt when you do exercises. Somebody asked, "Were you in Bud's class 282?" Nope, I was in 182. 100 before that. So I graduated in 1992. Hope that helps you, Beam. Let me know if it does. Also, you know what? Here's something I want you I want you to try. I want you to be honest with yourself and just treat yourself like a beginner. Nothing wrong with that. It's a great way to build good habits. In fact, read this article here. I'm putting it in the comments section, and it's called Treat Yourself Like a Beginner. Fitness for Beginners. You know, let's see. Are PEDs very common amongst the SEAL community? I think it's almost required to maintain a good reputation while you're training. No, you do not need them, and especially while you're training, you do not need them. In fact, they will test you for them, so don't get on them. Don't even get on supplements. Do not recommend it because you've been kicked out. Any suggestions on knee strengthening exercises? My knees always get sore after running 2 to 3 days in a row. Maybe not run 2, 3 days in a row. Maybe run every other day with some non-impact cardio activities in between. Add in a mobility day, add in some stretching. Um, you know, there's not really such thing as a knee strengthening exercise. You're strengthening the muscles and tendons around the knee. So squats, lunges, split squats, all of those are going to strengthen the leg muscles that go across your knee. Do you see a role for SEAL teams staying like it was in Global War Terror or being reduced to its original purpose, more amphibious and water-based? Yeah, they're doing that right now. There's a lot more amphib training going on, if that makes any sense. So yeah, they're going back to some of the original mission right now and just staying ready. Can I do the pull-up, push-up protocol at the same time? Yes, many people have and done quite well on it. Let's see. Hey, how about some CSS videos, huh? Looks like somebody said, I think you meant PED use once you're in the teams. You know, I don't know about that, to be honest with you. There may be folks that do, but um, unless it's prescribed by the doctor, only things I have seen that are prescribed by doctors, like uh, testosterone, because sometimes testosterone gets dangerously low when you're in high stress environments. Even when you're 28 years old, you can have the testosterone of a 55-year-old. So, um, I've seen that, but not the other, PEDs that like athletes use. All right, let's change the topic here and do some CSS CSS videos. So here's something we have. Let me get this volume down. All right. So I'll make this a little bigger for you guys. Let's see what we got here. So we got a CSS here. Disregard the guy swimming freestyle. So top arm, bottom arm, kick. Got a good scissor kick there. I like that. I want you to notice his streamline here. In fact, I'm going to stop it. So you can see that is a decent streamline, but I want to point out all these different streamlines to you in these videos just because I'm going to show you a perfect streamline in a few minutes after seeing this. So this right here, you still see the arms are bent, they're not straight. He's got his head down, which is good. But this could be better. Like his body, is still kind of curved. He looks like he's swimming, looks like a banana in the water, not like a torpedo. Top arm, bottom arm, kick. Could hold the glide a little longer. But overall, this is not bad. I mean, we're talking about what kind of time we got here. It's about a minute time, I guess. No, it's about a 50-second 50. So this is like this. I like this. This is good. So let's see this. Good. Kick off the wall. Double arm pulls nice. Transitions into the stroke. Top arm, bottom arm kick. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, pull. Pulling a little bit soon. Could hold the glide a little longer. If he had a little bit better streamline, he could really hold that glide a little bit better. But this isn't bad. I mean, I think it's a 50-second 50. So can't complain. That's not bad at all. Let me see what else we have. See, I got 4 videos to show you. I'm just going to show you all these back to back, and then if your questions come in, I can let me turn this off. All right, so I'm going to share this with you. All right, so video number 2. So kicks off the wall. That's a pretty good streamline. I like this. Not bad. I'm going to show you an even better streamline than this because that looks pretty good. You know, arms are straight. Every time he does it, he gets into that position pretty good. He slowly rotates over on his belly if he wants to. I find that a little bit easier to grab water with that top arm pull versus being on my side and kind of skimming the surface with it. So I rotate over just a little bit, just get a little deeper on that freestyle catch of the top arm pull. This is good. The only problem here is it's just slow. As you can see, that was 35 seconds to get across a 25-yard pool, which tells you a couple of things. One, he's losing momentum somewhere and not gaining it when he kicks and when he arm pulls. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, pull. So he's got the timing of this. It's just slow. You can see this guy next to him, steadily passing him. So this is what I call like walk in the park pace. So you would never start a 1.5 mile timed run walking. That's what this is. The effort level in this swim would be comparable to a walk versus a run. He needs to pull harder, he needs to kick harder, and he needs to glide faster. So that's the problem with that stroke. But he's got the stroke down. He just needs to put a little more effort into it. All right, let's see. This is number 3. Can't remember what this one is. Let me show you guys this one. All right, so different kick this time. So you see good streamline. Glides pretty far for a first breath. And notice the kick. So everybody else has been doing scissor kicks by now, but he has decided he likes doing a breaststroke kick. And it's not bad. I think this is like a 54-second 50, which puts him at that 9-minute zone. So basically, if you look at this stroke, it's really a breaststroke with a freestyle arm pull and breathe. Now notice here, this is what's slowing him down. Notice his arms when he recovers. See how his arms are this far away? I should never see his arms when he puts this recovery on. He should be recovering like this, like hands touching his entire torso all the way up here versus being out here and just basically putting on the brakes while he swims. That'd take a couple seconds off, and you just lose momentum every stroke that you have to recreate with your top arm pull and your kick. But this is like 1 step forward, 2 steps forward, 1 step back with this recovery here. So you got to be tighter on the recovery. And just by doing that, it will take off a couple seconds and put him in that zone of sub 9 pretty easily. All right, so this is the grand finale of what I'm going to show you. And I'll show you this again if you want to see it. But this is about as good as it gets doing the CSS. And you might have seen me show this one. It's just, every time he comes to the pool, I just like, hey, let me make a video of you swimming because it's so good. So this is a 43-second 50. So do the math on that. This is like a 7:10. He can swim a 7:30 easy. But check this out. So kicks off the wall. Look at that streamline. That's an insane streamer. Look how fast he goes. Those little dolphin kick in there. I mean, all he does is kick off the wall, and look how fast he's going. It's like I've seen some people just plow through the water and get nowhere, but he's already up. Now, the one thing I always hit him on is this high elbow pull. But, Ed, look at that scissor kick. Boom. Just a real quick whip kick, not a huge kick at all. Good turnaround and go. Boom. Kicks off the wall, streamline, little dolphin kick. Doesn't even do a breaststroke pullout, and he's at that yellow marker. 2 strokes. Yeah, this is just too smooth. Yeah, very good. Very good. It's exciting to watch. And he's a non-swimming athlete, so he's got that going for him as well. So he's actually, I don't know what his athletic history is, but it was not swimming. He's pulling his head and shoulder out with his breath. Yep, that was one of them. Yeah, popping out a little too much. Let's see what else you guys got. Have your thoughts on caffeine changed? Still cutting it out? I'm still cutting it out. I will say this: when my dad was in the hospital, the days were long and the nights were long, and I needed some caffeine just to stay alert. Um, so I kind of went off of my caffeine need, um, or my caffeine break for that, but I'm back on it. In fact, this is just regular old water. And I got decaf unsweet tea in my fridge. So yeah, I'm on it. I just realized I don't need it. I don't need it that much. I mean, I was drinking a lot of drinking a lot of caffeine in the day, probably reaching that near maximum level that you need, and I was just masking my tiredness. I wasn't really gaining energy from those energy drinks or caffeinated tea or whatever. So I just started replacing my caffeine with actual food sources like carbohydrates. Eat a banana, eat an orange, eat an apple, um, grab some cheese, whatever, you know, and it worked. Wasn't dragging ass anymore. Is it a useful idea to do the 50-50 each day, but focus on 10 hundreds, sprinting one day and then doing 5 200s the other as hard as you can, 80% effort? It's up to you, man. The goal is just get yourself in the pool. I created the 50-50 to be done every day, many as you can per week, to get people in the pool and not have to think too much and just do it. Sure, you can advance it to 75-75s. You can advance it to 100-hundreds. We do workouts where we do 5 300s and we try to stay on a 5-minute interval, meaning we're done with the 300 in 5 minutes or less, rest as needed, and then try to hit that 300 in 5 minutes, because 300 yards is in 300 seconds is 5 minutes, and it's a perfect little way to just assess your pacing abilities to see if you're at that yard per second pace, which I kind of use as a kind of like the standard to try to strive for, with and without fins. It'll get you anywhere you need to go, you know, 20 minutes below the minimum standard in most swim tests. It like with fins. You know, without fins for the 500, if you can do a yard per second, you're going to be a minute below the competitive scores. So it's fast, but it's not impossible. Many non-swimming athletes can do it. The last PST unfortunately involved 3 people per lane. That sucks. I know this will be common when I get into training and in fleet, but are there any tips you got for swimming in crowded lanes? My advice is talk to everybody first and figure out who's going first, who's going second, who's going third, with times. And if they don't know their time, they go last because chances are they suck at swimming. They've never done a 500-yard swim. And you're going to have to find ways to pass them. My advice is use the universal languages. I'm going to pass you on this wall. And that is if you touch their feet during that swim, when you get to the wall, they're going to go to the right, you go to the left, pass them, and then they follow you right afterwards. They don't really lose a lot of time. You're just going to have to speed it up and make a make a pass, at the wall. That's the easiest way to do it. If you try to pass them in the middle of the lane and then somebody's coming at you head on, really kind of sucks. Does it matter what kind of shorts you use? I'm assuming you mean shorts when you swim. Yes, the baggier the shorts, the more resistance you're putting on yourself and making swimming harder. The tighter the shorts, you're going to be much more streamlined, and you'll be surprised. It can take. I've seen guys go from board shorts to jammers and drop 30 seconds off their 500 just by changing their shorts. And it doesn't sound like much, but it could be a big difference when you're going from not competitive, getting a contract to competitive 30 seconds with a 30-second swim change. Okay, Mr. Smith, you were right. I'm shocked. Powerlifting football player, former powerlifter, 6 foot, 352. End of May, switched to cows and cardio. Monday, I was 317. Damn, body fat down, muscle mass increased. Should I do it for the rest of the year? It's up to you. It depends on your goals, really. I mainly walk. I'm up to walking 4 miles in less than 80 minutes. So about 20 minutes per mile. Hey, man, it's working for you. My advice is keep doing it. If it's working in the direction you want to go, keep doing it. It just depends on what you're trying to do. I don't remember what you're trying to do. So if you're trying to go from former powerlifter to tactical athlete, spec ops challenges in your future, then yes, I would just keep doing it. I was nowhere near your size, and I did it for about 18 months, just cows and cardio, and instead of running so much, I did more of a triathlon approach where 2/3 of my cardio was non-impact cardio, 1/3 was running. So that's where I would be. So yeah, once again, it depends on what you're trying to do. All right, folks. Looks like I got all your questions there. You guys got any more? I got a few more minutes. How do I deal with tiredness? Well, sometimes I'll take a nap. Sometimes I will get up, grab something to eat, and use that as fuel to not be tired. Sometimes I just hydrate and add some electrolytes. That can really make you feel a little wonky if you're if you like today, for instance. There's a real good chance that maybe another hour from now I'm gonna feel like I'm just done, right? And just lazy, just feel like I need to lay on the couch. But chances are I just need some more hydration and electrolytes, and that's going to be what puts me into a more energetic mood. But you need to find out why you're tired. Did you not sleep well? Do you need more sleep? Or you just need lack of fuel? Or are you lacking fuel? Eat something. Are you just running low on water? Hydrate and get some electrolytes if you did a workout today and you were really sweaty. Have you ever dealt with knee issues, ACL or torn meniscus? No, neither one. Knock on wood. Had some tendonitis in my knees, but no major tears like that. But I've known many people who have, and they've done fine post-surgery and made it through a variety of type trainings. Do I have any rowing workouts for no impact cardio that you like? I don't. I row every now and then, but it's something I really don't enjoy. So I would rather bike, elliptical, and stair stepper than row. So out of those four, rowing is my least favorite. And I'll do them all, but rowing is not something I have ever enjoyed doing. I would rather swim and bike for non-impact cardio than row or any of the others. Swim and bike would be number one and number two for me. Do you run the same speed on a treadmill as you do outdoors? I don't. And I will tell you this: we had a guy recently who, due to his circumstances, couldn't run um, on ground just because of his schedule and all of that. Just he worked in a gym, so he had to get his running in on treadmills. Um, and he was significantly different, like 30 to 45 seconds off of his mile and a half time when he started running on land. So he thought he was down in the 9-minute zone on a mile and a half. And when he started running on land, he was like 9:45, 9:50. So um, uh, I know I don't run as fast on on land as I can treadmills. Some reason I can move it pretty hard on a treadmill for a decent amount of time, just because I think the ground's moving for me, if that makes sense. So it makes running a little easier. What kind of shoes do you wear for running? I am wearing on clouds right now. ON. I think it's on.com. That's what I ran in this morning. ON. Let me see what it's called. On.com. Yep. On.com. Swiss performance running shoe. Really good. Um, let's see what else. Down and dirty, lost 35 pounds in 5 weeks. Damn. Oh yeah, you're just talking about down and dirty. Yeah. 35 pounds in 5 weeks. Yep. When you have it to lose, you tend to lose it a little bit easier. So, yeah, that is impressive. What do I think of acupuncture? Is it worth it? I don't know. Never had it. People swear by it. I just have never had it, so I don't have a personal experience with it. What do you recommend for electrolytes? I personally like drip drop electrolytes. I've written an article about it. In fact, if you do drip drop Stu Smith, I think it's a military.com article. Yeah, this is it. Ask Stu. Oh, look at this. Perfect question for you. Perfect answer. I'm going to put this one in here for you right now because it is a question: navigating performance nutrition supplements. Yes or no? Check out that article. It's a good one. It's over on military.com. All I did was just Google drip drop Stu Smith because I knew I wrote about drip drop in there. And if you read about it, you'll be really impressed with the type of um, almost pharmaceutical grade electrolyte. I mean, put it this way: um, drip drop is used by those doctors with no borders, right? They go into other countries and they will use it to treat malaria and things like that. So that's pretty good stuff. How long should each workout take at the most in the intermediate section? I don't know. I'm assuming you mean intermediate section of one of my programs. I got a couple with intermediate sections, but Yeah, I would say 45 minutes, maybe 60. Um, what would we what would be your number one tip for getting faster at running? Um, oof. Right now, I run 3 times a week and mix up distance versus hills. I would keep doing what you're doing. My advice is just be consistent. My number one tip is be consistent with your running plan if you want to get better at running. And then assess yourself, time your mile, right? And if you're not getting any better, maybe add in some more speed intervals in there. Maybe learn some goal pace intervals. If you have a goal of a 6 minute mile, learn how to run a 6 minute mile by running minute 30 quarter miles or 3 minute half miles in sets and intervals. Is it true they removed one of the buds classes in the winter? I don't know about now. I mean, everybody talks about, maybe changing winter buds classes. I mean, they'd done it in the past and got rid of it back in the probably 90s. Then they brought it back just because it causes complete disruption in the cycle when you take a class out and make them wait. And then you have a really big class going into the next one. You have a phase that's not doing anything and they're just waiting for people to train. So it throws some issue. It puts a wrench in the system, and I think they always learn that it's probably better to not mess with it. All right. How often should I be training my core? Well, every day you train your core. If you're lifting weights, you're training your core. You're doing any lift, deadlift, power clean, you're training your core. So just remember the core is a system. It's not necessarily just you doing sit ups and ab work. It's lower back, it's hips, it's hip flexors, it's shoulder girdle, thoracic region, obliques. So treat it like a system. All right. So look, um, it's been almost an hour. I do need to go. Do I believe in muscle memory? Muscle remembers its former size and gets there quicker after a break. I don't think there's anything to believe. I mean, I think that is proven that it can do that, right? It's just yeah, it's been there. It's kind of done that. It knows the process. It can get you back there a lot quicker than someone who's never put on that muscle. All right, guys, I gotta go. I appreciate your time. Go check out. Let me start this way. If I missed your question, just email me, stu@stewsmith.com. Happy to answer that by email. Send me a video there as well. Happy to critique your CSS. Send you an email with my critique in it. But also go check out stewsmithfitness.com. There's a lot over there. There's programs, workouts, more articles, hundreds of articles over there. You can search through them. There's coaching, there's courses, you name it. Membership site, tons of stuff over there. Check out the drop down menu for all the different options and different types of programs depending on your goals. I probably have an answer for you. All right, folks. We'll see you later. You guys have a good rest of the week, and I will see you next week.